Hi, everyone. This is Liz, and this is the Corvids Coffee podcast. With me today is my guest, Ashley Knoll. Say hi, Ashley.
Hey, everyone.
Today I'll be interviewing her, so we got some questions on the list for today. So let's get into it. All right, so we got our first question for today. And let's start with, it's actually Ashley is a psychic, and she works at work at that antique store that I stopped in when I was in Arizona last in Flagstaff. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah, so I work at Victorian Moon Antiques and Enchantments. It's actually a Victorian era store. So we kind of encompass anything you would see in a 1900s oddity shop. So it includes the antiques that were modern back then, so 1900 stuff, as well as lots of different types of oddities, pagan stuff. We have lots of books on different deities, different forms of worships, lots of apothecary things as well.
The store's amazing. I remember finding a few different things, like little earrings, and the tarot cards are actually were beautiful for the artwork. I think it was the crow ones that I was looking at, and you said you actually used the deck, and I just love the designs. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I definitely do. So, even though I do work at the shop, I also run a psychic business where I do tarot cards, oracle cards, I do rune readings and bone readings as well. And when I do tarot readings, I use the Crow Tarot deck, by MJ McCullen, I do believe it is. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I do believe that artist also has another deck that also has crow artwork and some other things on it. Absolutely love doing it. The artwork is so descriptive of the cards, while still keeping this kind of beauty to it.
They're absolutely amazing. I'm glad I got the deck. I still have to go through it a little bit, but yeah, the art's just fantastic, and I can see why you use the deck. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love it, especially because it's not too scary since a lot of my customers are tourists.
Oh yeah.
Flagstaff, downtown area, it's a very big tourist town, especially in the summer. So since we get so many tourists and a lot of my clients, they've never seen tarot, used tarot, or anything of the sort. I don't want my imagery to be too intimidating or scary, but I also want it to be something that they can look at the card and remember what the card meant. So a lot of the imagery in those cards is just so descriptive of what it means, and I love seeing it.
I like that. It sounds like you offer a wonderful experience to your customers.
I definitely like to change people's minds on what tarot is.
I like that. Yeah, because I know that some people, I've known that when I first heard of tarot, my cousin actually had a deck, and I remember she would bring up some of the cards. I know a lot of people were scared of the death card, but it's not, I guess from what I've seen for it, it's not exactly what you think it means. Actually, if you'd like to explain that, I'd love to hear, like, just the symbolism of it for our viewers.
Yeah, so funnily enough, you do have a question on here that I was reading about my favorite tarot card.
Oh, yeah.
Now I can't find it that I'm looking at it, but
No, that's okay.
I do remember reading it. And funnily enough, my favorite tarot card is the death card. And it is not so much a card of death or dying or anything bad happening, but it's about shedding the things that you don't need anymore to rise higher, to become more. And a lot of the times when I'm describing this card to my client, I say, don't think of it as a death card, think of it as like a phoenix card. Whereas when the phoenix, quote unquote, dies, they burn,
Yeah,
and they are reborn from those ashes.
that's
And
incredible.
yeah, and I think it's such a better representation of what that is talking about. although it still can be painful. I mean, you're getting rid of things, and no one really likes doing that, right?
Oh
Whether
no,
that's
change can be
physical
scary.
things, yeah, whether it's like the physical things or ideals or anything of the sort. So just really, I always like it when I have something new coming up. I am someone who always likes change, who is always trying to change, do something new and something different. So I love it when I get to pull that card and I'm like, well, now I get to get rid of something more. Let's do it.
I like that. Yeah, definitely. It makes life more interesting. I mean, you never want to have the same thing you're doing, day to day. You always want to have something to kind of look forward to, and that's just that sounds like an amazing card to get. So if you do get it in the reading, anyone viewing has gotten their cards read, or you're gonna get them read. That just sounds like a good card to get. It's just a new chapter of life.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the whole theme of you need to rise up out of that. Like once you get rid of things, rise further, because that's the point. Don't let those things weigh you down anymore.
Exactly. Oh, let's go with Oh, I have a good one. What is your go-to coffee order, or just drink order in general?
Oh, okay. So I'm one of those weirdos. So whenever I order coffee, I order tea, but I order tea with coffee. So
Oh,
I
nice.
I like I like a chai tea latte, a dirty chai,
Oh,
with
those are so
espresso.
good.
Yeah. Um, and even like in downtown Flagstaff, there's a little coffee shop right around the corner from my shop that I love to go to, and they have this delicious chai that almost has like a fruit hint in it somehow.
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I like
really
that.
good though. Yeah. So that's at Late for the Train Coffee if anyone is in Flagstaff and wants to know.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
stopped by there. I think I stopped by there earlier when I
yeah.
was over there.
Yeah, it's such a cute little place too. And in the summer, I don't know if it was warm enough when you were there, but in the summertime, they have like this little black back patio area, and it like has vines and things that bloom. It's really pretty, and they have little fire pits.
Oh,
It's yeah,
kind of sounds like a nice like little courtyard. Like those ones like a
Mhm.
secret garden kind of look to it.
It really is. And the cool thing is it's like in between the buildings. So
I
when
love
you're
that.
in this little courtyard, you really can't see the street, and no one from the street can really see you. So
Like a little hideaway.
it
I
really
love those ones. I wish we'd see more of those.
yeah, and Flagstaff is full of them. It's just such a cute little quirky town.
I gotta come back. I mean, I already planning to come back. I When I went there, I was just like, "There's so much to do," and I just
Mm,
feel like it's way different than anything I've ever seen. Especially Boston or like Worcester area, because like back in Mass, it's kind of everything's a bit crowded. But for some
mhm,
reason, being in like Sedona and like Flagstaff, there's everything's kind of like more spread out. It doesn't feel as clustered. I guess if that's the
right.
way to describe it. So it's just so
Yes.
freeing.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time in Boston myself. Well, Cape Cod. I have family that lives in Wellfleet, so I go there quite often. And I get what you mean. There's like a different kind of serenity there, but it's definitely got a lot more noise.
Yeah, it's definitely it can be very noisy over in this area. So it's almost
Mhm.
like kind of going somewhere where, like when you turn down the volume or like you get noise canceling headphones and it's kind of like everything's lowered in the background. It's like that kind of that feeling.
Yeah,
It's just something so peaceful about it, and you're just like, wow, I just feel like it just it just feels like it's so peaceful, like a peaceful moment, and just like you can enjoy things more thoroughly, I guess.
definitely. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But
Oh,
anyways, the answer to the question,
sorry.
definitely a dirty chai.
Oh, I love that. Actually, I know Tazo makes a good brand of chai. My
Yeah,
sister
they
gets that a
do.
lot, and oh, she loves it.
Yeah, every so often, like wholesale places will have like a whole pack of the Tazo chai
Oh,
concentrate. I'll get it and then just have that for like a month.
it's so good. I've gotten like I remember getting it at one point. I got like three of them. I think for like the winter season because they had, or fall and winter season because they had like a pumpkin spice one, and I was just like, I don't know what it is. It's like crack when you drink it. I'm just like, it's so
Right.
good.
And
Oh,
I mean, I
it is the
also make my
best.
own chai as well with some of the herbs that we have in the shop. So
Yeah,
I can never get it just right. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Someone's gonna teach me the perfect chai, but
definitely. It has that like it's so weird. It has that specific taste, but you can't quite put your finger on.
yeah,
Whatever they do to it, they make it like it's like a very specific taste. I don't know how they
right.
get it. Chai
Yeah.
masters, I don't know.
Exactly.
Actually, I have a good question. Out of anywhere in the world, where would you want to travel to? And it can be somewhere you want to travel to again, or like one that you've never traveled to before that you've thought about.
Oh, I want to travel to Iceland so badly. I've never
Oh,
been. I literally right behind me right now. I know no one can see me, but there's
it's
a
okay.
poster, a map of Iceland on my wall. Uh,
Oh wow! I like.
yeah, it's a topographical map. I think is what they're called when it shows the mountains.
Oh, I've heard the springs over there are really just like another it's like a whole other experience. It's almost like a spa,
Yeah.
but it's like more open and more with nature.
And I've been slowly, I mean, extremely slowly learning Icelandic, which is an extremely hard language. Um, I have one sentence down. It sounds horrible,
I'd
but
love to hear it if you're willing to. I don't I can't even I'm still trying to learn another language and I am not close to it, so don't even I applaud you for that. I was gonna say I can't even learn it.
I'm horrible at it. Okay, so if anyone who speaks Icelandic hears this, just know I understand I am butchering it. I know,
No. You're learning.
but
It's still good.
right, I'm trying. Give they think it's and it's
Oh, that's
can I have
cool.
a glass of water?
Oh, see, that sounds cool. I would have never guessed I would just be like I thought it'd be like a whole other thing. But
Right.
that's really good though. That
Yeah.
you're still learning though, and the fact that you're learning like that does sound like a tough language though. I've seen stuff for like people learning Welsh and everything, and I'm like you're either looking at it, you're like, how the hell do you pronounce this?
Right.
So
Definitely.
I hope you continue with it. I was gonna say so you'll prepare for your trip to Iceland.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the definitely going to one day. It's on the
So
list.
keep it up. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, what's the most interesting psychic reading you've done?
Oh, okay. Um, I mean, everyone is unique and individual, and even like people who come in who draw the same cards, um, always leave with like a slightly different reading, right?
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of the time, I don't get to know what the message is. Funny thing about doing tarot card readings, although it's not technically psychic, quote unquote, in the way that normal people view psychic, one of the things that I mostly do is give you tools to help you make your own future, not necessarily tell the future.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what most psychics do. We are here to kind of guide you that way. Everyone still has free will. You still get to choose which way you go when you get this information. And a lot of the tarot is psychological work, right?
Hmm.
It's equivalent to any other form of psychology. So, the way that I really like to break tarot down to people who come to me and say, oh, that's spooky, that's scary, or, whatever that is, it's just another form of psychology, self reflection. Um, so But the thing is even though it's not really ooh spooky telling the future,
Yeah.
it still comes to me as the interpreter in riddles, like future telling does in movies, right?
Yeah.
So I'm only getting bits and pieces of this.
It's like a
Um,
little bit of insight. It's like kind of leading you there.
right, right. And if you've ever seen the TV show, and I know this is not a real historical reference,
That's
so
okay.
it's one of those things. But the TV show Vikings,
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
in the TV show Vikings, again, I understand it's nowhere near historically accurate, but there's the vulva, which is
Mm.
the future seer, the truth teller. And in the show, it's a man, which is weird because in Viking days, the woman was always the vulva. Um, but in the show, the vulva gave everyone this like future reading, and it was like the bear will knock down the walls made of stone, and the princess will be rescued. Like these random things, and everyone was like, "You are talking nonsense," right?
Yeah.
But all those things actually happened. I get the nonsense messages and then I give them to people, and people sometimes don't always tell me what the interpretation is. I just have to trust that they got the message. But to answer your question, I know I kind of went off on a tangent
No,
there.
it's okay. I do that all the
Um,
time, so don't worry.
um, I'm not going to give out too many specific details of this reading because it is kind of sad.
Oh,
Um, Man comes to me. This man does not look like a man who would get a tarot card reading. I am genuinely confused. I'm like, all right, I don't judge whatsoever. I've had all sorts of people sit down with me and given me all sorts of interpretations, and I love that. So this man, he was so kind, he was so sweet, sits down with me, gets the whole reading. At the end of the reading, he goes, "That was the most amazing reading I've ever had." And I was like, "Oh, well, thank you." He didn't look like,
oh,
he was like mid 40s, really fit, well cut, suit and tie kind of guy. Like he looked not the typical type, right?
oh no, def-
Not to judge at all.
no, you're good.
But I was
I know
like,
what you mean.
right. I was just like, "Oh, well, I wonder how many you've had." And he goes, "Oh, I actually run a psychic institute in California."
Oh
And I was
wow.
like, "Oh, well, that's crazy." He's like, or it's like a yoga and meditation tarot school in California.
Oh,
I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." He goes, "Yeah, I get readings from, hundreds of people all the time. They come from all over the world to this, institute because we also work with the monks and all these other things." And I was like, "Oh, that's crazy."
that's
And
insane.
then right. And then he goes on to tell me um that, you know, his daughter went missing, was like kidnapped by sex traffickers in California. I guess
My
it's a
God.
fairly common thing there.
Oh yeah, I've heard it's definitely increased more, and I know that they've had those warnings, especially for big cities. I mean, I can imagine out in Arizona they must have it too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've heard of it,
Jeez.
but not, I guess, firsthand, right?
No, definitely.
And he comes up to me and he's like, "Yeah, his, daughter was kidnapped and he's been working with the police. His daughter was kidnapped like 6 months or something ago, a little bit longer maybe." And he came in and he was like, "I just love the reading, really gave me clarity." And he goes, "And I think I know exactly what to, when I go home, talk to the police about and how
Yeah.
I feel about it." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy." And then, he gave me his card legitimately, California Psychic Institute, um, was really crazy. And, um, he was so sweet about it. It was like, "Oh, you gave me this amazing reading. I feel so great. I've been in such a dark place since this all happened." Um, and I was like, "Oh, I love that. I love, helping people, making people feel more validated and feel better about where they're at or where they're going." And a couple hours later, his wife comes back in and she goes, "I have to tell you how amazing your reading was to my husband.
Oh,
His whole attitude has changed. He didn't want to come on this trip. He was gung ho about staying home and still trying to find, look for our daughter, but there's nothing more we could do. We've had this trip planned for years. And like, you are the only thing that's turned his mood around since
oh,
this happened." And she's like, "He does this for a living." She's like, "I never thought a tarot card reading in nowhere Arizona would help him this much." And gave me like an extra tip and everything. And I was just so grateful. Like,
oh.
awesome to know that I really affected someone positively in that way.
I love that. It sounds like you really improved everything, especially since oh my god, I can't even imagine what he's going through or even what the
Yeah,
wife's going through with that. That's just I feel like at that point you just be in a constant state of just the worrying and just being
right,
I mean, I don't even know what kind of dark place at that point, but it feels like it's hard to kind of pull people out because you're constantly living in it. And I think you did something amazing for him.
right. And it just made me feel so great. So definitely the one that I think about the most as far as my readings go.
I could see why that's very special, and I hope I hope eventually that they are able to find and locate their daughter. So, well,
Yeah.
the thoughts are with them,
Oh,
and
definitely every
I'm
day.
hoping that the universe comes through with it in the end. Let's see. All right, let's see. Actually, wait. What was? Let's see. I'm trying to look through all the questions. I'm like
No,
trying to
no
look through. I'm
problem.
just like, which ones have I not asked yet? Because I'm like just making sure. I'm like kind of hopping around. Let's see. What would you say your favorite part about being a sidekick is?
Um, Definitely helping people. I mean, as I just kind of talked
Oh no,
about.
definitely.
Um, yeah, being able to help people. Also, giving people and especially young girls confidence. I have a lot of times, especially, like we are right next to a college campus, Northern Arizona University.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, so I get a lot of these college age girls and who are going through a lot in college and in life, just as all of us, male or female, but most females especially feel um just unconfident. Um so it's really nice to come in and be able to tell them, you are doing the right thing. You are on the right path. You're doing what you need to do. Just believe in yourself and keep going.
It's definitely a very hard time. I remember back in college with that, and it's just everything's kind of like it's a whole transitional period into kind of
Yeah,
like adulthood and figuring out what you want to do, and it could be difficult. And some relationships can start, some relationships can end. There's a lot of craziness that can go on with it, and I think that's really amazing that you're doing that for them.
yeah, it's definitely nice to at least have, you know, give them some place to express who they or what they feel.
Exactly. Everyone needs that support, and that's what well, almost like what the podcast is about in a sense, besides just like relationships and talking to people, it's like, it's kind of letting people know that you're out there for them and that, that people do care and that you're not alone in this.
Definitely.
Let's see. What is your favorite, cozy activity?
Cozy activity,
Yeah.
probably reading. I read quite a bit lately. Um yeah, I've definitely been getting back into reading lots of fantasy books and
Oh,
romance books.
nice.
Uh Also playing video games. Uh
Oh, I love video games.
yes, I have been playing a lot of Skyrim lately. Not that that's very creative, but it's
No,
one of my
it's a fun game.
it's my comfort game, right?
I like I would say my comfort game's like Baldur's Gate 3. I've been playing that. Actually, I gotta play that later tonight. It takes a lot. It's a lot of time in it, but it's so worth it. I love just playing that and getting under a heated blanket and just like playing that for a couple hours. Oh, it's the best.
Definitely. I have actually D&D tonight, which is why I was saying that I had to wrap up
Oh
early.
no, no worries.
Because,
Oh wait,
yeah.
what's your Actually, I'll put the question that's not on the list. What
Yeah.
is your D&D character, and can you tell us a little bit about their origin story?
Yeah. So I'm the DM, actually.
Oh, you're the DM. Okay, so
I'm
you're
the
oh,
DM.
if you for any characters you have played before in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, my
yeah.
last character for my last game that I played as a player, um, I was a paladin.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's been a while, but I was actually, oddly enough, the only person. So when this campaign when I was paladin, my paladin's name was Nyx. Um, Very typical backstory of Nyx. She was a changeling, so a shapeshifter, and her parents were killed um, by this like cult leader who believed shapeshifters, were the demon spawn or whatever.
I
Anyway,
see.
I was we played this D&D game for years. It was my college crew. So all the people, like my friends that I went to college with, we played this game through college on until like 2 years ago. I want to say
Wow,
maybe
that's a
longer.
long. That's a long campaign. But
It
that's
was a
amazing
long
though.
time. Every so often though, it was just like we missed like a whole year, I think, during 2020 before we figured out
Uh,
the online thing, and we played online for a little bit. So it was here and there, for a while, but it was just nice every so often to get together to do this. But my character was the only one that technically survived.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's a
Because
little dark at the end, but I mean,
it's a
hey,
little
it's D&D.
dark.
What part isn't dark?
Right. The funny thing is, it that game does have such an impact on how I DM my game now. It started in the same bar, but slightly different bar. Um, and I kind of tell it around the same kind of thing that my old DM did. So, shout out to Scott. I love him to death.
Aw.
Um, and he was my old DM. But in this last game that we played, we were like, okay, we know this is going to be the last one, whatever. And then we actually ran out of time.
Oh,
Um,
so it's like leaving off on a cliffhanger, basically. We're
yeah.
like,
And then what
well, we gotta
happened
wrap it
was,
up next time.
right. So the DM was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do this massively overpowered thing, and most of you are going to die.
No.
And so we leave it. And everyone was supposed to die. And I just rolled outrageously high and used all these extra, like, points that I had. I was like, if this is my last chance, I'm going to use, like, I'm going to
Oh
use
my
all my
god.
luck points. I'm going to use all my skill points. I'm going to use my inspiration point. I'm like,
You're just
everything.
throwing it all in.
So everyone died
Wasn't
except me, and I was magically transported to some other realm.
wow,
So
talk about good luck in the game. I was gonna
I
say
know.
that's gotta be
And
the
I'm
biggest
like,
life-saving role.
my brain was just like, and the story of Nyx continues.
It's like I can bring this back in the future campaigns.
Yep,
I was gonna say good for Nick. So I was gonna say wait, it was just like, see, somebody's gotta survive. Somebody's gotta tell the story and continue
right.
into a new
So
story. But oh my god. So basically it's like I'm gonna hit self-destruct and you're just kinda like, nope, I'm gonna save myself.
yeah, basically. Yeah, because of a condition we made earlier in the game, like months before that, about how luck points and inspiration points can interact. And he
Oh
screwed himself over.
yeah, he's just like, wait, was he like really confused at the end where he's just like, wait, you were able to save yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and there was like this other magic item that he had put in years before. Like years before he put
So
this
you had it
magic
just in your
apple.
back pocket.
Yeah, just this magic apple he had in.
Oh my god. And he's like, oh, that'll never come up. And then it happens, and he's like, I didn't plan for this. Like,
That's
I'm so
exactly what happened.
confused.
I
You
was
just
like,
finessed
nope.
your dungeon master. I'm like, oh my god.
I did. I did horrible, horrible
That
things. And
that is
now I am paying for it completely with my absolutely insane group of players. My group is unhinged, and I love them for
but
that.
that's the best kind to be. You need unhinged people to, to go through life because it's like that's the best way to live. To be honest, unhinged in the good way. I'm gonna put it that way. Unhinged in the
Right,
good
right.
way because
Oh
that
yeah,
just makes life more interesting. Plus, it makes dark humor absolutely like chef's kiss. So
exactly.
I love it. Let's see. Trying to think of another. I'm trying to think one that would top that the question with the D&D. Let's see. Going through. Oh yeah, do you like crows or ravens more?
Oh, I saw that one. That's a really interesting one.
Because I know they
I,
have certain distinctions, but
oh,
either
they
way.
definitely have. They have so many distinctions. And then there's also the differences between like the crows and the magpies or the blackbirds and all the different corvids, which I absolutely love. All the corvids, I am definitely a corvid nerd.
Oh, I
But
love crows.
I don't know if you noticed when you were up here,
Mhm.
but there are a massive amount of corvids up here in all different kinds.
Yeah, it's
And
insane how many I saw flying around. I think I got probably like 10 pictures in Arizona of all the crows and everything, and I was looking at like crows, ravens, there were like a ton of them.
yeah, and specifically up here, we have such a unique mixture of crows and ravens together, which is like not found anywhere else in the world if you look it up.
That's
There's
insane.
only like a couple other places. There's like a place in Mexico or something, and then a few other places, right? So it's so rare. But the ravens that we have up here, funnily enough, and I've watched this, and I don't know if there's any science behind this, but I've seen it firsthand, is the ravens up here will like adopt a group of crows. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I love it. So there's this like big burly raven and then a bunch of smaller crows. And
Aw.
me and my friend, when we had this like yard area, we set up a whole raven crow feeding station.
Oh my god. I love
Yeah.
that.
And here's the thing, we would throw out food and the raven, the big boy raven would come down first, test the food, look at us, check us out, make some kind of noise, and then all the little crows would come and eat.
They'd be like, it's safe to come out, and then they flocked
Yeah.
all the way.
And it was so cool. And at first I was like, oh, the ravens are protecting other ravens. And I looked at them closely. I'm like, those are definitely crows. And I was like, this is definitely a raven. Like the tail, look at the fluff in its neck. Like this is definitely like so I
That's
personally think
crazy.
I do it's hard to pick one, but
It's okay. You can pick both if you'd like.
right. I think
Especially for
so I
this
think
instance, I was like, that's insane.
I know it's so cool. But I think so. I think crows are like cute little puppy dogs, right?
Oh,
That I really, really love, and they're so sweet. But ravens are like the intelligent cats, right?
that definitely makes sense with the way you described it. It's like kind of
Yes,
one like has a little more sense to look out for certain things, and the
right.
other one's like, I'm gonna dive in and see what this is.
Definitely. But also, I've heard so many stories and researched this a lot to where like ravens make more sounds than crows, or different types of sounds than crows. Crows make the crow sound, the craw, right? And then a
Yeah,
few others. But ravens can have like a full vocabulary more
that's
than we know.
crazy.
Yes. If you look it up, it's actually kind of creepy looking, but I love it. I still love it. And one of the ravens that we used to feed would say hello back to us.
Oh my
Uh,
god.
and somewhere deep, 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 deep on my phone that I'll probably never be able to find, I have a recording of a crow going,
Oh, if you ever find that, please. I was gonna say you have to. Well, I mean, I already want you on the future episodes anyway because you have the best stories by far. And I definitely want to hear that recording. I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna
if I
check in
could
with you and be
find
like,
it,
have you found
I
it yet?
don't. Right, I probably won't be able to find it, honestly. It might be on my other phone. I think it is on this one.
That's
But
okay. We can
I'm
always look
like,
up stuff on more crows or ravens.
yeah, yeah, if you look it up, there are ravens. There's lots of videos of ravens speaking full sentences. Um, and they can speak. However, they don't like to show humans that they speak. It's a very like octopus like behavior.
Kind of more reserved because they're like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I can trust you. Like very
exactly.
wary.
Exactly. And it's, like all corvids pass down information through DNA. Um,
Wow.
human, humans aren't the best to corvids.
Mm.
So, I mean, just in general, humans, they are.
Oh, yeah. I can
Yeah,
understand
but,
their hesitation. I just
right.
love them so much.
I know I do too. So I'm
Mm.
like, I don't know if I would pick one, but I think ravens, they can also be more vicious. They are stronger. They're more predatory. So that's why I think crows are the cute little puppy dogs and ravens are the intelligent, kind of feisty cats.
But they kind of both balance out each other. There's like kind of one personality that differs from the other. But I'm trying to think what you'd even call, because I know with a group of ravens, it's an unkindness, and then a group of crows is a murder. But what would you call like a mesh of that? Because I'm trying to think what I mean an unkind murder.
I thought a group of ravens was a conspiracy.
Oh wait, maybe wait. Let me fact check really quick. Let me see. Group of consulting Google. Let's see. Okay, group of ravens. Let's see, collective noun. It says, let's see, unkindness or a generic term, flock, I guess. But I like the conspiracy one though more.
I thought it was that. Maybe
That
not.
must be another one for it. I mean, they must have a few, I think, for it. But so it looks like there's that for ravens, and then crows. I think has actually. I always love the joke. When people are like like when you only see two crows together and it's called an attempted murder.
Right.
I love that. But yeah, no, I think that must be another term for it because I mean I know they have a few sometimes for different animal groups, and they're always I always love seeing those. They're so interesting.
Oh, I guess.
It's got to be somewhere. I was gonna say fun, non-related crow fact, but there's well, this is another animal fact, but it's all like it has to do with that group name.
Hmm.
I remember looking this up on like different dog groups, and there's one where it's like a group of pugs, and the name is just hilarious. It's called a grumble, and
No.
it's perfect because I feel like that just suits them so well. And I'm just like, there's no way that's what it's called, and I was just like, oh, it is called that. I love it.
Right.
But yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like we're just about at our mark. So, but I'd love to have you on in the future if you're free. So we could definitely talk more crows, ravens, and anything else you'd like to talk about. I definitely want to know more about Arizona for the next one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to be
Perfect.
on again.
Sounds good. Oh, and I'll share before we end the episode. Just want to share a quick mental health tip of the day. So let me bring that up real quick. Let's see. I would say definitely keeping open communication, having somebody to talk to, um, with especially if you're having any issues or you're having stuff you're struggling with, the best thing you can do is definitely talk to somebody you can confide in. For me, that can be anyone from my boyfriend to my older sister to my parents, and it's just good to have that. You don't keep it all inside, and it's always good to vent about that stuff because those are the people that care about you and they will be there for you and you can trust your friends with that. So definitely, you know, talk about how you're feeling. Sometimes you never even know until you talk about it that you're like, wow, I feel like I need to get that off my chest, and you'll feel a lot lighter afterwards. So,
On that note, can I also add um, the mental health hotline, the crisis hotline for America? You can just dial 988. And as someone who has struggled with mental health her whole life, I have called this crisis hotline before. They are amazing, even if you're not suicidal, if you just need someone to talk to. They have um, lots of free support, things you can do, different techniques, as well as tools, all sorts of helpful things they can send you. So that is 988. Yes, 988 nation.
I love that. I'm gonna definitely post that and we'll include that in the description. Also, I will include your any links to anything you need, anything for your business for being a sidekick and just anything else you want to add. You can always send it me after and I'll include that in the description as well. But I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week, and thank you again for joining me today, Ashley. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thanks. It was great talking to you too, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Talk to you again soon.